Hello everyone, and welcome back to... Well, welcome back to, the dry dock. Wait, no, hang on, that's Drac. So I was too busy moderating for Drac's stream last night, I forgot my own show. Welcome to Fleet's Catch-Up Ramblings, there we go. I got there in the end. I couldn't even remember my... I was too busy... Oh, oh, dearie me. Start doesn't mean to go on. Oh, dear. Oh, sweet mama, that's hilarious. Then again, that's just Fleet in a nutshell, ain't it? Very good. Alright, so, with all that set up and squared away, as we usually do, because we always do, let me just sort this out so it's live chat, and there we go. Scroll down so that I can see it, there we go. And then we'll bring in the Discord audience. There we go. And... Oh, mate. Ugh. One of them things. It's one of them days. Right, so, if I'm not mistaken, drag and drop. Drag and drop. Where is he? Where is he? He's here somewhere. I know he's here somewhere. Where is he? Where's he buggered off to? Where is he? Nope, that's that. That's all of that. Aha! I can find him here, though. There we go. Aha! Yes! Well, there we go. I really should have this favorited. You know, I really probably should. But, you know, it's fine. I don't think anyone's really paying attention. There we go. Right, okie dokie. So, hang on. Oh, we even recorded questions for Drake's drum. Hell on a handbasket. Oh wow, there's a lot. Okay, so that was Rambling 61. And Rambling
you might have
62.
to remember. You might have to remember one of the. I think it was the last Friday ramblings, which questions were actually answered and not.
Well, we'll just go through as we can, I guess. So,
because I wasn't able to put the answered and unanswered on.
This will probably be a fairly short rambling. So the reason for this is that I'm starting my birthday celebrations this evening with Fleet's Fun Friday, and I'd like to put as much time to that as possible. So we're going to work through the questions we have.
Well done for surviving another year of horrific human life.
Indeed.
May you live many more.
Indeed. So we are literally just going to get through the catch-up questions, and then we're done. And I'm starting Fleet's Fun Fridays on my server. Although, I do have good news. Chieftain absolutely confirmed for this coming Monday. That's happening now. It was nice having him on. I think it was yeah. Let me check.
It was quite a while ago.
Let me check. It was before I started recording them. I have the actual date actually. Let me have a look. Yoink.
That would be over a year ago then, Fleet, considering we're up to over 62 recorded ramblings.
17th of the 7th, so a year and a bit ago.
1 year, 5 months.
Yes. And then, of course, he also appeared in the Dry Dock Railroader server on the 28th of the 3rd this year. That was a fun operating session, running trains with the Chieftain. Really chill as well. It's like me and like 4 others. It was really nice and small.
Needs more British trains.
It's in America. doing short-line operations.
Needs more British trains.
No, shush. I like my Americanisms where
I'm
they
so-
are.
I like mods, and mods make it way better.
No, fuck off. Leave the British trains where they are. This is an American short-line railway.
They should make they should make a British DLC.
No, that's not. Fuck off. If you want to do that, go and play any. Go and bloody grab whatever it's called.
What version of this fleet is it? What version of a game like Railroad exists for the United Kingdom?
There isn't one because the concept
there is no
doesn't
alternative.
work for the UK because short lines like this don't exist in the United Kingdom.
They literally do.
No, they don't.
Have you ever heard of a branch line?
That ain't a short line, sunshine.
Aren't all British lines short lines to American standards?
Yes, basically. This is the thing.
So
The way you'd have
oh boy,
the way you'd have to make it work. The way you'd have to make it work is you'd have to set it before the First World War, when there still were a myriad of private companies of all sizes, and you could found a new company to take over, because that's the whole premise, is that you're founding a company to take over and operate trackage that a larger company has given up because they don't want to take up the cost of repairs. So you'd probably be looking for a line about the length of the Somerset and Dorset, possibly one of the smaller railways down in the Midlands, south of somewhere between Birmingham and London. There were a few that were about 40 to 50 miles long. They were either joint railways or they were either.
Calm down, Archon.
Yeah, like this is my show. If I want to discuss something like, yeah, that would be the way you'd have to do it. In the UK.
What about the colonies? Yeah, the colonies could honestly be a good
work,
option as well. Give me the AD60, which is a 484484 Garrett type locomotive,
Again, that would be
which is
more,
bloody huge.
That would be more.
No. Send me to
In New South
India.
Wales.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
an India
problem-
one would be interesting.
The problem with that is that it's very much more mainline full
Fleet, have you seen what the
railway.
mods are doing for Railroad?
Yes, but that's not the
Like,
premise of the game as designed. You could turn it into that, but in that case, then you're not really asking for Railroad, but British. You're
People
asking for something different.
people want trains.
Yes.
So
I'm aware
therefore,
of that.
people will add whatever the hell they want.
Yes, I'm aware. However, like I just say,
All you need is a base top. All we need is a base to operate from.
well then,
I'm sorry. You must do the absolute blurst that is the 1960s Indian Railways.
That would genuinely be interesting, though.
yeah, Indian railways in the 1960s are in a weird place. There's some electrification going on.
Exactly
but
why it's interesting.
but you've also got a.
Because you've got fully electrified and diesel trains running alongside colonial steam engines.
Dieselization doesn't.
Especially once you get towards...
Dieselization doesn't really take hold in India until the 70s. Not in a real sense.
It does around in Northeast.
Yeah, but like
Honestly,
yes,
CJ.
Like, you really don't.
If they could manage to get those rights, Island of Sodor DLC.
Honestly, that would actually. Do you want to know the funniest thing? That's the sort of railway. It's about the right length. It's about the right locomotive fleet.
Is it?
For what you would expect.
Sodor seems to keep changing in size.
It's the railway series, which is the original books that are the ones that actually that are the correct baseline. You're looking at about a what is it, 60 to 80 mile main line.
Hell, I'm pretty sure because there used to be an ancient PC game where you actually you drove around as the trains around.
Oh, I remember
and even that was bigger than 50, 60 miles.
Yeah, like
that thing was huge.
Yeah, but it was the main line's about 80 miles.
Well, how similar the game it was, but
yeah. Main line's about 80 miles, branch lines... Yeah, honestly, that would be the perfect British map.
It's not a TV show where they somehow murder a train.
No.
That does happen, I think, once, actually, but...
Yeah, it's called scrapping.
No, the other thing. Scrapping murdering trains happens a lot, but there's a couple of others which are slightly... But hey, if they manage to get an A4 Pacific type working on Sodor fleet, I'm sure we can get one elsewhere. Because remember, silver exists.
Yes.
So we can easily do like full mainline trains on small branch lines.
It's one of those things. I suppose it's just like you and me have a difference of opinion over what railroader is and should be used for. But that's not.
I think it's an excellent. I think it's just an excellent platform for a lot of good train
I'm not
games.
denying that, but I will just say that personally, I much prefer keeping it as
It's why I would say these as expansions would be more interesting, or at least having it so that it has the capability to allow stuff like this.
I'd appreciate not being told what my opinions are.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing you need to know about your opinions, Fleet, is that they're wrong.
Fuck you, Foxo, you son of a bitch.
No, she's mine, Fleet. Stay off.
Fine, then get to it.
Okay, right. That's not hard, Fleet. Right, Foxo, get the collars ready and as well as the.
We're not doing this on stream.
hey, I
will admit he did call my bluff spectacularly there, so well done. I can't even.
But yes,
I can't even be mad. That was just well done. Okay, so yes, this was 60 when Dr. Clark had to come in and save the day when the stream sort of had a minor concussion. I believe.
Why do I smell Indian?
Oh no. Right, so
Dragon, you can't just say you smell Indians anymore.
Wrong type of Indian.
Would you two please? So, thoughts on the first landing ship dock of the USN, the Ashland and Casa Grande. Do you think these ships are more effective during amphibious operations in the Pacific than LSTs? No, they're not more or less effective, they're just different for different roles. An LST is basically drive ship onto beach, unload tanks. The landing ship dock is a permanent place to stage large numbers of smaller large numbers of various variety of smaller amphibious craft, serving as a supply depot for amphibious operations, at least during the early phase. They're two entirely different ships that do two entirely different things.
Yeah. The latter's more akin to a Mulberry Harbour, if I remember correctly.
Not... the problem...
In role.
No, well... Yesn't, because you can use a landing ship dock in the opening phase of an operation. You don't have to wait to use it. You know, it's not like a Mulberry Harbour. You have to wait for like a good week or two afterwards to get it set up and deployed. Like you can be sending troops ashore from it, on the first day.
Well, but it took during the Pacific. It was like 3 days to get a Mulberry set up after landing.
Well, Mulberries were only used in the big Mulberry Harbours were only used in
D-Day.
Yeah.
The big ones were using D-Day, but the smaller ones we used.
The smaller ones I don't think were Mulberry
Pacific.
Harbours. They were similar in concept, but they were much more simplistic than the Mulberry Harbours. Like similar concept, yes, yeah. Set up a temporary port, but they're not technically Mulberry Harbours.
Yeah, but they come under the category. There's just several types of Mulberry Harbours.
I don't think Mulberry Harbour is very specifically referring to the temporary ports constructed to a set design. That it's not a catch-all term for temporary harbours and jetties. I think. I'll probably look that up afterwards. Which country first invented the idea of a marine expedition using an LPD or LHA to conduct a combined ARPS amphibious landing first using both helicopters and landing craft? The UK? I think it's one of those developments that happened concurrently in basically both the UK, French, and American navies that came out of Korea. And then was...
specifically for helicopters?
I assume it's talking about the idea of the modern marine expeditionary unit. It is an idea that comes out of Korea, and I think basically all of the navies...
the Americans.
Yeah.
But because it was just when they specified the helicopters, it's the Americans. If you take out the helicopters, it's being used for thousands of years. I was doing some reading about the Portuguese Marines, of all things, right? And their organizational structure is pretty similar to that of the modern Marine.
Yeah.
Unit.
Yeah. Would the World War II USN approve of this much roof usage, which is basically the TIE fighters stored on roof racks? Yes, they probably would. A question: Arrestor cruisers, anyone? Yes, we all like good Arrestor cruisers. Tractor beams away. What if civilian Constitution Class 2 cruiser? It's not really set up for a civilian role in Star Trek. Civilian ships in Star Trek are far bulkier, slower. It's not got the mass, as in it's not got the payload to tonnage ratio you would really want for a civilian ship in Star Trek. It just doesn't. Thoughts on this? Which country stands to benefit the most geopolitically from the resurrection of the spirits of their historical navies as sentient shipwomen? The UK. But that's pretty much very true. I can't even.
I want to say the UK, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah.
I said I wouldn't say the UK.
Question: when are the British going to standardise on the NATO 5-inch? That's literally what's already happening. We're literally doing that. That is, the Royal Navy is moving to the 5-inch gun. It's happening already. I did that one. Has Drac ever stated his preferred type of weapon for whacking people? He has not. I'll have to ask him next time I see him. Did that one.
Lee's got his trowel, Dragon's dragon.
Well, no.
Clark just sends his
no,
mother
no, no,
after
no,
you.
No. The trowel is for removing people's spines. If I want to hit people, I get the sharpened sledgehammer.
The sharp sledgehammer for Fleet. Dragon, we don't know. Clark sends his mother after you.
Yeah.
She's very scary.
That's probably right.
Um.
Well, no. Clark sends his mother. Dragon sticks you on them.
Yes, and then I've got my axe.
Yeah. See, the worst thing is, like, there's a reason why Foxo and Fleet must always disagree. Because if we were ever to ally, she hits you over the head with the axe, and then the sharpened sledgehammer comes in to remove spine.
No. You knock her out with a sledgehammer. I just reenact that scene from the beginning of Skyrim.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Fun fact: the shaft on a Danax is about, well, the ones I've got, which is 11th century Danax, is about 1.5 meters, which means you can use it as an executioner's axe. And before anyone says, these axes were specifically used against the Scots by the Danes.
Yep.
And they were very effective at breaking up charges.
So next is. So
we did
that one. That one we've repeatedly said is not answerable, and we've answered that one. Ramblings for Drake's drum. We've already touched on that, and I'm going to leave those questions alone. If we ever come back to Drake's drum, I want to do it in an official capacity for reasons that Voxo knows full well. I don't want to do that properly, rather than just do an offhand discussion now. So, Rambling 61. So, did that one. 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 That one. That one. That one. That one. That one. What if Senator Tillman's ghost gets enough influence to make someone make a Tillman carrier? Tillman carrier, you've basically like, you'll say, I want a Tillman carrier. Someone will point at the Lexingtons and go, there's your carrier. We've already bloody built it, you dickhead. Because, I'm sorry, but the Lexingtons were just bigger, faster, carried more aircraft than anything else in the world. By a fair metric. Okay, this is one for Foxo and Dragon. For top No, we did that already, actually. Did that. Did that. What the combined French and Spanish fleet should have done to avoid the engagement in the Battle of Trafalgar. The problem with avoiding engagement of Trafalgar is that it basically requires Villeneuve to accept being removed, which he's never going to do. The reason that Trafalgar happens is Napoleon says to Villeneuve, if you do not sail, I will replace you. And Villeneuve knows his fleet is not ready. But it would rather be him. He would rather it be him, since he knows the commanders, he knows the capabilities of his ships, and he's been in post for a while, than somebody new who is going to have to do the same job he has been doing just from scratch. Basically, once Napoleon gives that command, and Villeneuve basically has to sail under threat of removal, he will sail, and that will be that. And if he sails, Nelson will catch him. What happened in the GUP universe? The GUP? GUP? GUP?
Girls and Panzer.
Oh, I don't think there's any detailed world lore for the Girls and Panzer universe as far as I'm aware. It's got to be post-scarcity. It's gotta be, because there's no way you can afford to have all of these World War II era tanks and everything else if you're not in a post-scarcity universe where resources just are not a problem. It basically has to be post-scarcity. That's the thing I'm really gonna have to drop down on there. It's got to be a post-scarcity universe. Heard reports of Japanese.
Remember correctly, it's not post scarcity; it's near post scarcity.
Well, as long as you're near post scarcity, you're all right, aren't you? Heard about.
But we know money and funding are a thing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Heard about reports of Japanese special forces in World War II landing in Australia and not making it far into the wilderness. Is there anything to it? I've never heard of that. It's probably something worth having a look into, but given the fact that it's not well known, I would assume it was either an extremely small force that achieved nothing and either died or withdrew, or a force that landed and then... Yeah, it's basically got to be a small force that landed, did nothing, and withdrew. If it happened. Because that's the only reason it wouldn't be well known. Because if they had achieved something, it would actually be well known. If you were to drop...
I was gonna.
No, go on.
Because I do have heard stories. This is third hand because they're from family members who live out there. Of about 10, 15 years up until modern day, after the Second World War, finding Japanese uniforms around Darwin and the northern coast of Australia in the bush, where it's just assumed that they died. I think it's where this idea that they landed and then didn't go anywhere came from. But it's just the case that they don't know what happened, but they found bodies according to
Ooh, excuse me. I'm alright.
essentially local folklore.
I'm back. Local folklore?
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
finding IJA bodies on the northern coast of Australia in the bush.
If I were to drop X turret on Vanguard, what can I put in its place? First things first, when? Are you talking when she's built, when she's commissioned, when she's refitted, before she's scrapped? Because I can tell you one thing, nothing you can put in there at any of those points is worth losing X turret. Just X turret. If you're going to lose both rear mounts, you can do something funky. But at that point, you're sacrificing half of The problem
You
with
could probably stick
the
a
problem with
what's
just
called arm missile launcher in it,
No,
or a
the-
expanded helicopter facility.
the problem with that is that
You still got wide turret, haven't you?
yes,
So,
and
do the
that
X turret.
and that's the problem. The blast from wide turret basically removes a massive area that you can't use because the blast of the guns will just render electronics and vulnerable systems moot every time it fires. So you either drop both guns to free up space for helicopter decks, missile launchers, etc., or you keep both guns and put those systems elsewhere. Like down the sides, where you remove the 5.25s to make room for them.
I suppose one way you could. The only reason you'd ever want to do this is if you're doing it in the early to mid World War II era, and you just want to create enough armored renown.
Yeah, like if you wanted to speed up construction, you could just not fit X turret.
Or just decide you need another 32, 34 knot battleship.
Yeah,
Battlecruiser.
yeah. Like this is like these are the things you could do. Like, but
Because
what?
put Vanguard engines in a ship like Renown, and you've got yourself a 33, 34 knot ship.
Yeah, but to remove the turret after it's been in place. The thing with Vanguard is that she's a very spacious, well laid out ship. You've got scope for rebuilding her with missiles and rapid firing AA guns along her sides with a decent area away from the blast of her main guns, just because of how spacious she is. You don't have to drop any of the main battery to do that. For Azur Lane, how would you treat the Soviet Cold War ships that became part of the navies of the former colonial powers? I mean,
They're their own independent entities.
I suppose, yeah.
But it's literally as simple as that. If a ship is part of a nation that it wasn't originally belonging to, that's its new ship. That's their version of the ship. It's not the original anymore.
3'6"
Take
locomotives.
Arkanglesk for a reason.
Why are there 3'6" locomotives on standard gauge? Stop! I have my limits. I don't like it.
Cat, squeeze his testicles.
No, let's not do that.
I thought you'd like it,
I have
Blake.
a, I have a
Seems up your wheelhouse since you like British Rail.
The C62 is actually fairly nice looking. It's a very nice hat. Well, the thing is, all the locomotives are nice. It's just, I'm not fond of. I suppose you can re-gauge them. It's nice, I guess, and the models are very clearly well done. But they just don't belong in the US. They belong on a Japanese
Okay,
railway.
do you quickly want to learn something dumb?
Depends. What do you mean by
We get the
dumb?
feeling we don't have a choice.
In World of Warships, you know the animation for when a AFW aircraft gets shot down?
Yes.
It's the same animations when a fighter gets shot down.
Yes,
Cowabunga!
they've
Cowabunga
reused
it is! Cowabunga
it
it
means they
is!
use it, but it means that now this is now happening to 4-engined aircraft.
I
So where
just
it's
saw
meant to
a
be a
Catalina
single-engine
turn
fighter
into a
spinning.
Beyblade.
Oh, it's far more fun when you see that happening to B-24s, what's it called, Short Sunderlands. I
Whee!
think they do have a version. Yeah, basically, the various different
Yuki,
400s
I
stuff. It's
know.
just, oh dear.
Yuki, I know the wheel arrangements. You've got a Mikado, a Hudson, a Mogul, and a 264 tank. I know my white classifications. Oh, yeah, that's... tractive effort's mostly... Yeah, but then again, I don't really know the tractive effort of the TC62 class anyway.
I think that's why she's posted it, Blake.
Ye-
Anyway, on that topic, I'm just gonna nod and say yes. Those
Ah,
bad numbers, yes, trains, yes. Why can't you just be civilized and get a damn boat?
I have a question. If Nelson managed to intercept the French fleet on its way to Egypt, and after a successful battle ends up capturing a certain Bonaparte while also halting the French invasion of North Africa, how does this affect the rest of the War of the Second Coalition? If Bonaparte is released post-war, would this change anything regarding his attempts to invade Britain?
Probably a lot of things change, honestly.
Well, hang on. If the Second Coalition, because the War of the Second Coalition, how long is that? Because the Second Coalition is, because yeah, Bonaparte has to because during the War of the Second Coalition he goes to Egypt, comes back, coups the government, then as first consul he ends the War of the Second Coalition by marching south and winning the Battle of Marengo, which ends the War of the Second Coalition, and leads to the temporary peace.
France implodes.
If he's not,
I don't see Britain necessarily releasing him.
No. Here's the thing: if he's not there to coup the government, reorganize the army, and win the Battle of Marengo, there are other commanders who can do it. The problem is, the problem we've got is that with Napoleon not there, we don't know who will end up in positions of command, and therefore we've no idea how the campaigns will go. Because there are some incredibly competent officers in Republican France at this point. Some perhaps even better than Napoleon, that Napoleon overshadows and sort of sweeps under the rug as he rises to power. So there's no lack of talent. The problem that we've got is you've taken one of the key historical figures out of the picture and therefore created massive uncertainty. It's basically impossible to predict how the War of the Second Coalition goes now. It is. Like, you would have to spend years doing character analysis of every single general in France. Is anyone else going to attempt to coup the government? Are the French armies going to... There's so many different things you'd have to analyze to deal with that. How can offshore oil platforms be protected during wartime, especially against subs? Short of a sonar buoy suite around them, with you would basically have to protect each oil platform with... Oh, what's the word? The only way to truly protect an oil platform is to give it a permanent garrison. By that I mean a warship stationed right next to it. And even then, that might not be enough. If the enemy wants that oil platform dead, they will make that oil platform dead. Same principle as with carriers. If the enemy wants a carrier dead, they will probably find a way to make that carrier dead.
Difference is the carrier can fight back.
Yeah.
But
unless we start loading the oil platforms with weaponry.
Yeah, but the problem.
But you see, the thing is, are we talking shallow water or deep water oil platform here?
I mean, it really doesn't matter because
it does, because a deep water floats and can be sunk by conventional means. A shallow water, like are actually resting on the bedrock and are almost solid.
I mean, yes.
And are filled with cork, so
yes,
good luck sinking it.
Well, yeah, you're not going to sink it, but slam a few cruise missiles into it, and oh my goodness, it appears the oil rig's on fire.
Yeah, but
The problem is, realistically, you don't want to target oil rigs.
No, actually, you kind of do in a full-scale war.
But the problem is, doing that has a lot of negative connotations.
Yeah, it's a big difference if it's deep or shallow water, because a deep water you could just throw a torpedo at. At shallow water, you've got to hit it with cruise missiles consistently, because you can't sink it. At that point, the shallow water you can defend, just put some seawards on there.
That's not going to work.
It's the best hope you're gonna get though,
Yeah,
unless you're
like, it's
permanently
like-
stationing an
no,
action group
like
there.
it will, like I would still probably suggest you put at least 1 or 2 Seabus platforms on there, but mainly just, oh, we're protected now, and so the crew keeps working. It's not actually going to save them from any reasonable missile strike.
Yeah, like if a fleet comes, it's fucked. But you just sort of want to make it so it's a non-economical use of force.
Anything above 4 missiles fired will probably result in at least 1 getting through, and 1 is all you need to cripple the platform.
Not really.
There's
A lot of oil rigs are just empty mass.
Yeah, the problem is, though,
It depends where your missile hits on the oil rig.
yeah, like I said, it's all
There's
you...
a lot of areas that one missile, if it hits an oil rig, the oil rig will just go, sorry, was I hit by something?
Yeah, but there's also
Yeah.
areas where if it gets hit, it goes... Ah.
Yeah, but you would then need to hit that one area.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
And if
actually,
you-
no.
the problem
Fleet
is if you-
plate. Right. Let's see here, because all the actual oil that's pumped up is stored in the massive pylons, which are all quite deep underwater, and the storage tanks are deep underwater. So to hit it, you'd have to hit the bore tube, which is a very small target.
Wouldn't just hitting the platform itself at least make the crew go fuck abandoned ship?
No,
No?
because
cruise
they
missile.
they've actively right. Are you aware of what happens in the North Sea?
Yeah,
Genuinely, the waves alone are more of a threat at times.
Yeah, but...
Dragon, you're missing some also important.
They also have to then be there to make sure the whole thing doesn't go up and cause a complete environmental disaster.
I think...
Right, Dragon, it's not that it's
Well, no, I know. I'm just pointing
oil
out certain
rigs,
things that will go
especially
up.
ones that operate in shallow air and in a place like the North Sea, are designed to survive and keep functioning when after there's large natural gas explosions in them.
Yeah, but that's not a cruise
Not
missile
quite.
strike.
Yeah, arguably the
Yeah,
worst.
it's like because she had those ones in the 70s that quite literally the bar tube exploded with metric tons of natural gas going up.
which is more explosive mass than a cruise missile. The only advantage is it's more dissipated.
How fast... So,
Yeah, and it's like they're designed to survive large explosions.
Yeah. So, how fast could Agincourt go if we replace her 22 original boilers? If we original 22 boilers totaled 34,000 shaft horsepower with 6 less Lexington boilers, which would give her slightly less than double her original shaft horsepower.
Her shafts are screaming.
Yes, her shafts are screaming, but assuming you've also done work to her turbines and her shafts as well. you've
25 knots.
Yeah, 25, 26 knots.
You're not getting anything more on
You're
that.
not, I don't even think you're getting 26 fleet.
She's got a fine.
I think you're getting 24 to 25.
She's got a fine enough length to beam ratio that you.
It's not just that though. She's just not built for speed.
She's already she's not a 21 knot ship. She's a 23 knot ship when built.
Yeah, which is why I said 25 knots, because she doesn't have.
She doesn't have the correct hydrodynamic profiles to properly push it past 25.
It's more the fact that she's not going to go past the 25 because she's going to push herself out of the water.
I'm speedboat.
You would need someone with, realistically, you probably want someone who has an actual, degree in the actual engineering.
I know. I'm just talking. All I can see is.
No, I'm just meaning. I'm just saying in general to properly answer it.
I know, but still, all I can see now is speedboat.
Fleet, you laugh, but for the tests that would lead to the renowned and hood,
Oh, I know they do that. They do
actually
that.
had to test for that.
I
going
know,
up
and,
around
it,
30 knots.
and it's the reason why Hood's so wet astern when she's at speed. I know.
If you believe it or not, you do not want a 50,000 ton ship aquaplane.
How do we get the Kiwis to push 26 knots during their 30s reconstruction? You don't do what the RN did. The RN didn't do a like-for-like replacement with boilers. They sacrificed machinery weight with more efficient machinery to free up weight to go for other things.
Which was arguably the right choice.
It was the right choice, absolutely. But if you're willing to not do that, you can get 26 knots out of the QEs.
But why would you want to?
Yeah, why would you want to? The tonnage is much better spent getting dual-purpose secondary batteries, bulges, increased elevation for the main guns, a reworked superstructure, etc., etc., so on and so forth. Just a thought, if during the World War II the Free Dutch had gone back to its French imperial name of Batavia, would the command have been the ABBA command? Java Sea! Slowly losing the Java Sea. Whoa, 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 whoa! The ABBA command. Oh god, there'll be songs about that. Memes galore. Oh. That would have been very funny. If the
You're not getting 28 knots out of that QE, out of a QE though, Moe.
No, you'd
like,
basically
unless you go with that idea that the Royal Navy initially had.
No, I'm sorry, but a 28 knot QE exists.
yeah.
The design
It's called Repulse.
No, it does. No,
Towards
it's
the end of
not.
a life.
No,
Towards the
it's
end of a
not.
life.
No, it's not. There were we know there were Royal Navy battleship designs to go to these 28 knot sort of things with the QE style.
Well, no, Dragon. If we did, if you do a full like-for-like replacement with modern Admiralty boilers and turbines,
You're not getting 28 knots.
Yes,
they
you
don't
can.
have the profile.
Yes, they
They're
do.
too
The
wide.
only reason they didn't have the 28 knots when they were built is because they didn't get small tube boilers. We know this.
No, even with small tube boilers.
No, I
they
will
might be able to
point
push-
out
they won't be able to
that
push it.
the
And especially
QEs
after the
have
breach.
less hydrodynamic than Tiger, and Tiger struggled to get 28 knots on that form.
Yeah.
And also, let alone the fact that they were bulged, so in a refit, they are most certainly not hitting 28. There is no way.
Yes, but
with
I would
those
point-
bulges,
yes,
you're
but-
hitting 28.
Yes, but Dragon, if you, as I said before, and you've selectively forgotten to make a point, if you are going for speed, the only thing you change on the QEs is the boilers and the turbines and the shafts. You don't bulge them. You
No.
don't replace their superstructure. You don't replace their secondaries. That is the only way you get them up to 28 knots.
You also need to rework the bows.
Yes,
You need to rework the bows and the sides at best.
you can do
No,
it. You can do it. It's just, why would you?
Yeah, but we know what the final product of a high-speed QE is.
like again, we
It's
did
called
also
the
know what.
Admirals.
No, it's not even that. We also do know that there were ideas for this. HMS Agincourt was potentially going to be it. It was basically the Admiralties. Let's test around with things.
Is it the
And-
whole point of Agincourt that we don't actually know what Agincourt was going to be?
There's a lot of designed
Yeah.
things that we believe are Agincourt, but basically it's a redesigned QE with a lot more interesting stuff.
So, next...
You're probably not getting QE up to the required speed in the given first place, given the absence of internal space required to put machinery, and the difficulty incorporating the appropriate TDS does not accessibly alter the hull form. Yeah.
So, the next question doesn't ask much. If the Soviet Union never fell, what would the 90s through to the present day look like? Wow, they don't ask much, do they?
Interestingly, is how they would look.
The only way you have the Soviets not fall is if the hardliners retake control. And aggressively clamp down. And put the Soviet Union back on the path to, we're not going to fall, but we're just going to steadily degrade. You probably would
And at that point, you get a civil war. If it's after the coup, you get a civil war. Because remember, by the time the hardliners are doing their thing, Lithuania's broken free, the Baltics are trying to break free,
Ukraine's going.
Ukrainian branch of the armies not following orders anymore. It's forcing free Ukraine. Honestly, you probably have to go before even Yeltsin. Not Yeltsin.
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev.
You'd basically have to have the hardliners see him for what he was going to do and not, and basically decide, nope, no reforms. And
No, it's probably the opposite, actually.
If the Soviet Union
You
reforms,
need perestroika to succeed.
if the problem is perestroika can't succeed because the Soviet Union's a fundamentally flawed state. It's a monarchy wearing the face of socialism.
Yes, but perestroika, if reform is the only way it survives in some state.
It wouldn't be the Soviet Union anymore. It would be Soviet Russia, because I guarantee you, as soon as you start relaxing everything, the other socialist republics go. They don't want to be part of it. They never wanted to be part of it. They're only held into it by force. All of them.
Yeah, but perestroika wasn't the whole. Wasn't just. I want to talk about the economic side of perestroika.
Oh no, I'm aware. The problem is to say if the Soviet Union never fell, and one of the things about the Soviet Union not falling is that territorial integrity has to be intact as well. Otherwise, it's still a fall, even if Soviet Russia survives.
Yeah, so the Soviet Union, if it fixes its economy, might have a decade or so left in it. But yeah, the hardliners ruined it.
Yeah, it would have been the interesting thing about this that I would have loved to have seen is if the Soviets weren't actually going doolally and had been in a decent shape with perestroika succeeding, and actually gone like Saddam Hussein does the funny in 1990, and the Soviets are actually much better equipped. Go, you know what? I'm not going to let myself be upstaged by NATO. Hey, America, move over. We want in on we want in on this as well.
Probably not, to be honest.
I know.
Fuck. We're no longer starving. That's a good thing. Where's all our money gone? We don't know.
No, I know that, but it would have been kind of funny to watch T-72s and T-80s drive into Iraq alongside Abrams. That would have been very funny.
I would also be putting to see the West go. This is the armor we were scared of this entire time.
Well,
this is the fucking Soviet army.
Well, to be fair, you might actually have them go. Okay, the T-72s and the T-80s are actually scary. Look how they're demolishing the export T-72s and T-55s, because they would be. Like, this is the Soviet army, not the Russian army, in the aftermath of the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, but it's a late Soviet army. Actually, the Iraqis did some actually quite good modifications to their export T-72s.
Final question of the Catchup ramblings. Is 1944 late enough to consider 3-inch guns? No, yes, absolutely. The 3-inch is the U.S. destroyer escort armament for ships that are primarily anti-submarine assets. That you either have 2 5-inch or you have 3 to 4 3-inch. Oh.
If you need gun, any gun will do.
Yeah, also, the wall is a deciding factor on the integrity of the Union. I respectfully disagree. Whether the Berlin...
It kind of is, and it kind of isn't.
Like, it's a symbol of communist oppression, but you can also have a reforming Soviet Union could use it as a sign of change rather than a sign of decline.
Right.
It can be both symbols at the same time.
There's a very good argument that the fall of the Berlin Wall directly leads to the Second Order Republics, aka the Baltic states, Ukraine, Belarus. That's a direct major influence on their own ambitions for independence. Because it's very much a case of they can leave, why can't we?
Yeah.
and one of the major causes for the anti-communist revolutions of the 90s
Well,
is the fall of the Berlin Wall.
what I will say, Yuki, is that the Berlin Wall, when it comes to geopolitics and strategic maneuvering, it's hard to call things mistakes geopolitically. You could argue the morality of them, but mistakes have to be things that detrimentally affect the country that's made the decision. And for the Soviet Union, the Berlin Wall was not a mistake. It was a well-calculated, necessary.
Right. I just should make a distinction for seed others. As I understand it, Chernobyl was very much the final domino to fall that made the fall of the political Soviet Union, as in the actual entity itself. Once Chernobyl happens, it undermines people's faith in the government, and it sort of breaks. Final thing that breaks the facade.
Up till that point, the facade was still intact.
But the fall of the Berlin Wall is the Warsaw Pact leaving, which makes, combined with Chernobyl, makes Ukraine go fuck this, which makes Belarus go fuck this, which makes the Baltics go fuck this.
Which makes the Central Asian states go fuck this.
Central Asian states, we're slower on the uptake of fuck this.
Yes. They
Because
got there in the end. They did get there in the end.
But you got states like Kazakhstan, which got told they weren't part of the union anymore, and we're like, wait, what?
Wait, what? But we like the union. Like we have space program if we in union.
Okay, the HBO Chernobyl is
Gear of
it's not perfectly accurate, but it's very good at how do you say this? It's not pinpoint accurate, but it's little things that I paint the false narrative, but the larger scale stuff, especially when you see this focus on how the Soviets dealt with it, was pretty much correct.
And a very good way to highlight how dysfunctional Russia has always been towards its people. And
yeah, because it's like it gets a lot of the reactor stuff wrong, it's just about the RBMK, but
yeah,
that's just
as to how
it's good enough at explaining what the general public will understand.
Yes, and it
like,
also highlights how every single Russian state, through the Tsardoms, through the Soviets, to the present day, deals with the general populace of Russia and the areas it controls. Which is to say, not very well.
But there's a very good scene, I can't find it from my head, where the scientist lady who worked and designed the reactors, well, on the team that designed the reactors, is trying to get I think he's in charge of Ukraine or like a big part of the response. And you just see he's a party crooning, he's completely fucking incompetent. And it's like, it makes a point of he got to where he was from being a worker in a shoe factory because he kissed ass.
That's about right. Seems about right for the Soviet Union, you know, kissing ass, rising through the ranks. That's what they do, you know, all that stuff. That's the way it goes, isn't it?
I mean, Yuki specifically, Legasov, there's multiple different interpretations depending on who you put the credit, who you believe to be correct, telling the most truth, because they're all bullshitting to save their own ass. The KGB, Legasov, everyone.
Yep, you are. I am bullshitting to save my ass, and I will throw everyone under the bus in order to do that. I don't know why I've turned into an Australian, despite being in the Soviet Union.
I mean,
Australian, Soviet Union.
yeah, But I mean, I get that, but that was compiled by information and testimony by these people who were lying their ass off, and it's sort of the best of what we can piece together. Yeah, I mean, it's a case of
Whose lies do you trust?
Basically.
yeah, and it's a case of for what it is. It's a very good show.
It ain't perfect, but we're getting close to being correct.
I mean, it's fucking. With something as big as Chernobyl, you're never gonna get the truth.
Yeah, you're probably right there. And on
Because
and
so many of those fuckers will take that information to the grave with them. Or have taken it to the grave with them.
which is not surprising.
I just feel bad for the liquidators, man.
Yes. We all feel bad for the liquidators. Because, you know,
I mean,
they're liquidating.
I don't. They're an incredibly annoying team of Ferengi baseballers. Not even joking, that's a real thing.
Oh.
The Ferengi
Yeah, but-
liquidators are in the top 5 of the baseball teams in Star Trek.
Oh, we have
You
fun
keep
here.
most of the reactor room stuff died quickly. The liquidators, it took several days to weeks for them to die.
Ooh, and that's not a pleasant
And
death.
their deaths were horrific.
Yes, they were.
Because, I don't know, standing on top of a broken nuclear reactor that's spewing out radiation and radioactive cobalt and piling sand on it to stop it doing that.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't honestly. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. Genuinely,
Oh, I
I
would.
would not.
Yeah, it's like,
I wish worse.
it's like the firefighters who went in there alongside the miners and the civilian helicopter pilots.
Oh god, those helicopter pilots, brave bastards.
Yes, and one of them still alive in Ukraine. I have to try and find them for her, but
He's
we did a couple of interviews about it.
just. It's a bloody good thing that the Mi-26 has actually just been brought into service, because that thing actually did a lot of the heavy lifting. Although the Mi-8 did also a lot of the work as well. Things like
Yep.
heavy. It's the one case where the Soviets' heavy helicopters really did come to their aid. Things like the Mi-26, Mi-6, etc.
Yeah, the guy who did the helicopter, the guy that survived in Ukraine with the helicopter, he was assigned one of those, and he survived stage 3 radiation poisoning,
My god, what a legend.
the terminal phase where your body stops fighting it.
And he just says, nah, fuck it, I'll win. My god, what an absolute legend.
The guy's sick as a dog, but he's still kicking.
I mean, the miners were sent to die, the miners were useless. I think that's not fair, Yuki. Calling them useless is, I think, a little bit insulting to those brave men. They might have been hopeless.
I
what
will
they
say,
were
even if
doing.
they're brave, just because they're brave does not mean they might not have been useless.
I mean,
But the issue with the miners
don't-
is that they were brave and they were doing what they were told, and it was a fuck up in command because there was so much ass covering. They ended up being useless.
I suppose. Just I don't. Always sits uneasily with me regarding that sort of thing. Given that they gave their lives to try and help.
That's all well and good. No one's denying their bravery. But since I personally don't entirely know enough about them, I'm just going to say whether they were useful or useless does not deny they were brave.
It's a case of they went in at the wrong time, and they weren't like the helicopter pilots that were part of the initial "Oh, Jesus Christ, cover it the fuck up." But they weren't the divers that went down later to stop the waste products getting into the water table. They just sort of went in at that wrong time,
Hmm. Fair
where
enough.
in the grand scheme of things, they didn't have much of effect for what they did.
Fair enough. And on that morbid scenario, it's time to end. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Now, for those, now I'm going to make a quick announcement. Before, just those of you who are aware, I will likely not be around tomorrow for most of game night, and if I am, I'll be dropping in and out as I'll be doing other things because tomorrow's my birthday and I'm going to celebrate it uproariously. You are in the capable hands.
He means getting completely drunk off his mind.
Yeah, we'll go that far.
I would.
Are you telling me? Are you telling me you're getting laid, Fleet, for your birthday?
I should be.
Jeez.
I should be so lucky, but
Moving
no.
on.
But no. Yeah, so Moe will be the person in charge tomorrow. And they'll be
You're not
running.
trust me.
And they will be running the events. And it's up to them to decide what's going on. So look to Moe for your pings and your instructions tomorrow. As for me, in order to enjoy myself this evening, I am going to be hosting a Hoi 4 game in my Discord server. If anybody wants to come, they are more than welcome. As for the rest of you, I hope you've all had a fantastic time. I hope you've all enjoyed it. And as always, take care, folks. I'll catch you next time, and tune in on Monday